And welcome into the Sporting News Studios. Tom Vandervoort with longtime NFL defensive coach Alvin Reynolds. Coach, the New York Jets, you can't talk about this team without talking about their backup quarterback. Tim Tebow, I mean, is it a sideshow? Does he help the football team? And what's your gut feeling about Tim Tebow in New York?
My gut feeling about Tebow is really that he helps the team.
Okay,
really
so
does.
You think his talent and the versatility he might bring to the offense is worth the kind of circus aspect of him being there?
I believe it is. I say it because last year the Denver Broncos, for example, the run game, they led the league in rushing. Well, that's what Tebow helps bring, is a strong rushing offense.
So
for a team that needs rushing offense.
Yeah, that is true. Does it undermine Mark Sanchez at all? Is that kind of thing overdone in the press, that, oh, he's got to be looking over his shoulder? Or are you always looking over your shoulder?
You know what? I think it's sort of overdone because I think he's in there for a reason, to be a teammate, to contribute to the team, and to contribute to the aspect of to have him have a better running game, first of all, and then maybe from there have a better percentage at throwing the ball. Because I guarantee you, if he's in that Wildcat, it's going to create a lot of problems for defenses. So
basically, if everyone understands his role in the team and everyone's comfortable with it, it does not have to be a disruption.
I really don't think it's a disruption with the Jets. Yeah, I really don't think so.
On defense, this team, Rex Ryan, a defensive coach, a very voluble defensive coach, they didn't perform as well last year as they had in the past. Do you see that defense bouncing back? It feels to me like that's a big piece of any success they're going to have.
I think they're really going to bounce back, and the reason I say that, I think he's really put some thought in the defense in the offseason. For one, I know they brought in a new defensive line coach, Carl Dunbar, a good friend of mine at the Minnesota Vikings, who coached Jared Allen, and a lot of guys, Ray Edwards, who we now have at Atlanta, that I was with, did a great job at rushing the passer. And I think that's one of the areas they were lacking last year, so they brought in a new D-line coach, and he's trying to get that stronger to get that done. And then, he tried to bolster the back end, too. We have Revis Island.
Revis is a great player.
Revis, Ireland. We have Cromartie on the other side, who in his own right is a really good corner. And then they also brought in Washington Redskin DB, Landry. LaRon Landry, who was a first-round pick, who has a great talent.
And a big hitter, right?
Yep. And then Jeremiah Bell, I think, from Miami. So they brought some other people in
to shore up the defense.
You have other things now that you got to make sure you get done with that is continuity and chemistry with the defense on the communication side of it.
So now maybe you have the pieces, but it's putting those pieces
It's putting the pieces together. But I can see them doing that because I think with training camp and the time that they have together, I think that'll get done.
Now we go back to the offense, and why don't we talk about the starting quarterback, since we talked about the backup, Mark Sanchez. How do you see him as a defensive coach? If you're looking at Mark Sanchez, what are you seeing as how do you prepare for this guy? What are his strengths and weaknesses?
I think his strengths are, and I have played against Mark in the past, and he's a good quarterback in this league. He's obviously proven that he's a functional quarterback. I actually took him to the championship game, I think, a couple of years, twice now. So we know he's capable. But the question not so much is about Mark, but what's around him. Because now, like we talked about some other teams around the league that have some weapons, do they really have enough weapons at wide receiver? I think you have Santonio Holmes. And that's all I know about. That's about it.
Dustin Keller seems like a good tight end for them.
And they brought Hill in, a receiver. But also, you listen to the comments from Antonio Cromartie saying that he was the second best receiver on the team. Interesting comment, And they are experiencing with him coming to the offensive side of the ball so they can have a little more weapons on offense. And then the running game. Where is the running game right now? You have Tebow and the Wildcat, but then Sean Green, is he healthy?
So does this, the success of this offense, you go back to Tebow, how much depends on that Wildcat thing actually working for this team? Offensively, is that important to them, that thing really work?
I think it's important that it works in this fact, that they keep the opponents off balance. So they can't gang up on their offense, on Mark Sanchez, and that passing game or the running game. And now they don't put as much time into stopping one As the other, you got to do both. For people that don't know about the Wildcat, it creates different situationals for the defense too.
Right.
Because now the defense, based on what personnel they decide to run the Wildcat of,
right,
it puts your base defense on the field, or it could put your sub-package defense on the field. And so now that's two different segments that you have to work on just for the Wildcat. And now you're not putting the time into their regular, against their regular.
So it actually disrupts your preparation.
It disrupts preparation. Yes, it does.
Wow, very interesting. So in the end, the Jets in the AFC East, we know there's some good teams. The Bills are up and coming. The Patriots were obviously the AFC champion last year. Where do you see the Jets netting out?
You know what? I think because of the new system that they're bringing in, and then introducing the Wildcat to it, and the defense, you know, trying to get their continuity back and trying to get their swagger back, so to say, I see them at 8-8 this year.
8-8, the New York Jets. Very interesting team this season. For Coach Alvin Reynolds, I'm Tom Vandervoort. Thanks for watching.